Hello and welcome, my name is Dan, and today I will explain why I will never finish Darkest Dungeon, a game about psychological horrors of adventuring. I would consider myself to be quite open-minded, which means that I can take pride in trying new things even though I might not like them just to see what they're on about. It's a bit like going for tequila shots after several rounds of Jaeger bombs, which is exactly how I felt while playing The Darkest Dungeon, the roguelike turn-based RPG game by the Red Hook Studios. It is amazing, but it's a bit bitter and it takes a lot of commitment to actually see through. And this is why today I will explain why I'll never finish The Darkest Dungeon. Roll the intro. There really isn't a lot that I don't like about Darkest Dungeon and its dark fantasy setting. A game where you explore your in-game granddad's basement for what feels like an eternity. The game has some good gameplay ideas for expressing its creative design based around what mental health issues may occur during good old fantasy grinding. I like how you have to make sure that your party has enough food for every trip to the dungeons. A bit like when you have to make sure that you have enough food for your guests at dinner parties. If you'll prepare too much food, you'll be regretting putting so much time and effort into cooking. But if there won't be enough, people will always remember you as a cheap cunt. So you always make sure that you have a bit extra just to be safe. The feeling of safety doesn't last very long once you embark to a dungeon of your choosing to cleanse it of all hellspawn and loot it good. It's a side-scrolling adventure where you have to keep a lookout on traps and other interactive objects that may or may not have a positive effect on your party. Some objects will require you to bring items such as shovels to make sure that you can remove rabble blocking your way, as well as big stacks of torches to make sure that you will survive the dungeon, as darkness turns your party into depressed My Chemical Romance fans and all enemies considerably stronger, but you get more loot. This is all very good, especially when the atmosphere is highlighted with the sound design, which consists of a very good soundtrack and a commentator that eats other commentators for breakfast. The only issue I really have with the game is its combat style, which is too bloody RNG. I have never been as bullied and harassed by RNG as I have been in The Darkest Dungeon. The game provides you with tools to improve your characters with better weapons and trinkets that boost the stats, thus it gives you the impression of control. However, when you enter a dungeon and you lose your first fight to a group of 3 spiders because all your hits have missed and all theirs have been critical, you must be very desperate to continue the game for long enough to see the ending credits. The combat in Darkest Dungeon is so random and punishing, you simply don't have any control over the action because it is not your careful planning and strategies that win you the fight, but the software's mathematical whims. And yes, I know some seasoned players will be thinking, hey, but there are tactics that grant you an advantage in the combat. And I absolutely agree here, but at the end of the day, they are all dependent on mathematical equations made by the game and not your skill as a player. So this is why I will not be finishing Darkest Dungeon anytime soon. I do enjoy a game of The Darkest Dungeon every now and then when I have a burst of interest in the game, but I like to be in control of my proficiency in combat, and not depend on the game to tell me whether I've won the fight or lost it. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for a new video every Friday, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.